It worked? Okay. Yeah, babe.
Babe, you knocked us out of Zoom.
Yes, I know. I had to do that because we were doing a test. So you guys come back in the Zoom.
Is he in there?
I don't see him yet. But
Not good.
no, Michelle, I get it. We're doing tests here. We're back. You come back in the Zoom. Come back in the Zoom. You come back in. Let me know when you're there. John, I hope you're there.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I apologize. We're doing tests because we got multiple streaming here. So
That's okay.
just want to make sure that we are right. And so I apologize for that. And I think we are right now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I made a call in on the number and the number works fine.
Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be locked in. So you're gonna be calling in about right now. So you locked in on it?
I've got the phone ready to go, so you want me to call back in now, yeah?
Let's give it about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn my video back on. Looking forward to this, my friend. Okay. So how is it in Liverpool, man?
Well, that's it. You see, we're crossing the Atlantic, you know, and we're breaking down the boundaries.
Well, you know, I've been to England a few times, man.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, and yeah. So hold on one second.
Everybody that says they've come to England, though, they always go to the wrong part, you know.
Man,
So,
you know, I was up there by the palace and by the. Hey, baby, you should be a minute.
I'm here.
So right by all of that stuff that I thought it was cool, but man, I tell you, the culture is a little bit different than what we used to,
right.
and it was okay. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed everything that.
Whereabouts did you go?
West something, where the military bases were.
Oh, okay.
Or it was, and they had those big bricks, you know, in that area, and
Right.
the first church by John, I forgot. So it was in that area, Westmoreland or West something. But what they got those bricks, those, you know, seventh wonder of the world, how them bricks was done. We was in that area.
You probably, well, it sounds like you know more about Michael than Stonehenge.
Yes,
There you go.
Stonehenge.
Them bricks. I'm with you now. Right. Yeah, they're big bricks.
Hey, John, were you able to call into the studio via Skype?
Yeah, that works perfectly.
Perfect.
And everything is working perfectly here. Hey, Michelle, you need to adjust your camera.
Mhm.
John, you might want to adjust yours a little bit so our audience can see both of you guys' beautiful face.
Sure.
So
So I'm doing both. I'm continuing this and the Skype call. Yes.
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 So you're not going to get confused with the audio. There's going to be a
No.
delay
Only
between the
thing,
two.
no. Only thing you have to do is turn down your volume on Zoom. Turn it
All the way down
all
once
the
the
way
show
down.
begins.
Right. So then I'm just dealing with it on the call.
Yes. But you're also dealing with this as well because everything gonna be locked into the system, but your call gonna be locked into all the streaming networks.
Sure.
So it should be
No, I'm
okay.
gonna-
But your Zoom need to be turned all the way down. Hey, call in now, please, if you can.
Yeah.
I thought he did. Oh, okay.
Hey, Michelle, adjust your camera a little bit, babe.
Hi, John Wilson speaking.
Okay. I gotta get ready. Hey, Michelle, send Clayton the link. Please send Clayton the Zoom link. Please send Clayton the Zoom link.
Down.
You got Clayton? Email.
Yep.
Send Clayton the Zoom link now. Hey, Josh, Jay, come make sure my camera, we got one minute before the show starts. You gotta make sure that my camera setup is right. If you can. I'm talking about mine. Everything is going through here. It's not going through there. Here's is going through there. Everything is going through there. At the halfway point, like 7:35, I need for you guys to turn this on. And we'll do it at 7:30.
Hey, John.
We'll turn this on
John,
at 7:45.
can you hear me?
7:45. All the way up on that.
The National Supply Podcast, available on SalemPodcast.com and everywhere podcasts are heard. San Diego. See, you've got another from John. And 50% disapprove. The approval number has been declining since hitting 54% in April. Only about 1/3 of Americans say the country is headed in the right direction. The poll also found that rising prices and paying everyday household bills top the list of concerns about American families. Great question.
That water talking about, you know, we go. Conversation right now. Which I do.
Hey, Noah.
Hey, Michelle, real quick, I'm going to James too. Just a quick reminder that is an international call. There may be like a second delay between his responses. So I just don't even say anything. I would just let the pause happen and then just answer, after he comes back on. But there will be like a slight, it's like a half a second delay.
Okay, I will let James know.
Okay. A Coast Guard diver was.
Where did you see the light control?
James,
Yeah, but I heard it.
you heard Noah?
Yeah,
Okay, so
you see the light control.
you heard what he said about the
No,
pause?
it's a white light controller right here.
James,
Yeah, babe.
you heard what Noah said about the pause, the delay?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm turning my volume all the way down. The show's starting in 1 minute.
It starts in 2 minutes, but
No, it's 2 minutes after.
CVS and Walgreens PayPal purchases soar 400% on Black Friday. Those stories next. By now, you know that MyPillow doesn't have their box stores or any shopping channels any longer due to the cancel culture. Well, Michael Lindell is now passing along those savings directly to you.
I'm turning my Zoom down.
History of MyPillow for their classic standard MyPillow, regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with promo code DOBS. They also have queen size pillows, regularly $79.98, now $24.98 with promo code DOBS. MyPillow is not just pillows; they have over 150 products, everything from sleepwear to bed. And my promo code DOBS also works on mystore.com and frankspeech.com. Go to mypillow.com or call 1-800-977-9152 and use promo code DOBS to take advantage of Mike's special offer on his standard MyPillow. That's mypillow.com, promo code DOBS, or 1-800-977-9152.
Is talking to me.
Generated hysteria.
What's up? I'm trying to tell you important information, dude.
Hey, I'm here.
America's.
I heard what you were telling Michelle. I was right there.
About the delay.
The 1 minute delay.
Walgreens and CVS
No, and I wouldn't even, if you want, what you can do is you can let the audience know at the beginning that if there's a slight delay, it's because of the international call. But then after that, I wouldn't even bring it up. Just after you ask a question, there's going to be like a half a second to a second pause, and just wait for it and let the guest finish.
100% increase over 2020.
I heard what you
numbers
said,
on Wall Street today.
and in my word, based on what we had talked about, based on me
Please
getting
join me 3 times each weekday for my help. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded. It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley, and I'll tell you, my great friend Noah, man, I am so excited about our guest tonight, man. And he's coming from Liverpool over in England, you know, and
That's what we call across the pond.
That's what they call across the pond. And I tell you, this guy is such an interesting guest. Normally, this is our first comedian that we have. And I tell you, I believe that this is going to be a great show. Such a great guy. And I just want our listeners to sit back and just enjoy this great guy. She's going to tell us a little bit about him. Yeah, and then a lot more about him. One of the things I want our listeners to know that there might be slight delays since this great gentleman is coming from England, on call, on Facebook, on all social media platforms. And so, you know, I tell you, just hang in there. It's gonna be great. And so,
Yeah, there's always when you're dealing with international calls,
Slight delay, but it's
part of the whole setup, and it's not going to be that long of a delay. People are going to enjoy the conversation. I can't wait to find out about John.
I am looking forward to learning a lot more about his name as well. You know, so I tell you, I listen to all of it right now. If you want to be part of the country, that's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. So, Noah, we're going to keep it brief, but how are you leaving this?
It's been going well. I talked to, actually, why I'm in such a good mood. I talked to one of my good friends, and he's been on the show, Bill Camp, today. Interviewed him for my show, and becoming loose friends with him over the last couple of years has been a real treat. I always love talking to my show.
Man, Joe is such a fantastic guy. And man, I look forward to having him back on the show again real soon. And man, it's incredible.
Yeah, people can hear my chat with him on my show this weekend on Across the County. So just go to the website, go to
theanswersandiego.com and look at the show time.
Be able to hear him. It's going to be a great discussion. Go to the website.
I know it's going to be a great discussion. And I look forward to actually hearing that as well. You know, so, but I want to get started with this great show here. And, so I tell you, I want to know what else you want to the conversation. That's 1-888-344-1170. That's 1-888-344-1170.
Hi, everybody.
I was getting ready to introduce my great co-host. Since we're already there, can you please tell our listeners a little bit about the show? Tonight, the purpose, the title, and let's go from there.
Well, the title of the show today is Stand-Up Comedy with Liverpool's John Wilson. And let me tell you, he is the first comedian we have ever had on the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. So this is truly an honor. And the purpose of the show tonight is getting to know the background of John and discuss the challenges and his road in becoming a stand-up comedian, and talk about how John prepares for his material and, his preparation times before he gets on stage, and discuss his experiences on stage with the audience and also the projects he's working on currently.
Wow. So why don't you introduce this breakdown to our listeners?
Yes, John Wilson. From bus driver to computer engineer to comedian, John started his comedy career when he attended a comedy course in Liverpool in 2013. Since then, he has performed at the many venues around the UK, including the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and the famous 100 Club in London, which gave birth to the Sex Pistols, the Clash, the Damned, Sigsea, and the Banshees, and the Buzzcocks. His appearance on the double special show with the thanks to Crystal Gorgeous and Chris Gorgeous led to the Florida stage. Appearing in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, a 2016 fantasy film directed by David Yates, a joint British and American production. It is a spin-off and prequel to the Harry Potter film series. He also stars in Don't Die in Liverpool, a 2017 biographical romantic drama film directed by Paul McGuigan and starring Annette Bening and Jamie Bell, with a cast that includes Vanessa Redgrave and Julie Walters. The James Cooley Show July proudly presents and welcomes Mr. John Wilson.
John, how you doing, my friend?
Come on.
Noah, I and Michelle are so excited. Yeah, and I tell you, you are second international guest on the show, and we've been doing this 2 years, so we got to do this a lot more. But I'm excited to get a chance to know a little bit about you, because I started out as an actor and as a stand-up comedian as well, and you know how that business is. I'm doing radio now, man. So, hey, John, can you please tell our listener audience what is it like growing up in Liverpool? What was it like developing into the guy that you were today? Because you, as a bus driver, as all these other type, as an engineer, and now you're a stand-up comedian. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Right. So, well, first of all, I'd just like to thank everybody for being on the show tonight. I'm absolutely honored. I mean, first comedian, I'm very proud about that straight out the gate. And also a big shout out to a wonderful friend of mine, Crystal Gorgeous, who's such a lovely friend of mine. And now apparently my publicist as well, so that's good, isn't it? Growing up in Liverpool, wow. I mean, I'm like Liverpool area, right? So I'm not like in the city centre. I'm in the surrounding areas, and now a little bit more grassy where I live these days. And growing up in Liverpool, so sort of, I was a 60s child. So obviously, I sort of became aware, or certainly self-aware in the 70s, and growing up with mum and dad in what you would call a tenement accommodation. So, things were tough. Dad worked, mum didn't. So there was no such things as credit cards back then. We just had to make do with what we had there and then. There was no heating either. And I'm feeling really old all of a sudden. And so,
wow. So I am very interested, the different changes in the job. What led you to choosing the career path that you're currently on, man? I'm telling you, I was in the game, so I know how that works. Say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what my character is. This is what my legacy is. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Well, so basically, straight 16, straight into school, straight into shipbuilding. when I left school. And I had various jobs along the way, and I went bus driving along the journey, and then I became a computer engineer on the journey, and then obviously I became a comedian. I wanted to start comedy. Now, the journey, it's funny because I've got there's people within the family that have done comedy that is famous this side of the water that you would never have heard of. And I was always a big fan of him. His name was Al Dean. He was a stand-up comedian, very sort of silly, because I love the silliness of comedy. I really do. And he very much did that. And he came second in a very big show over here in the UK. So I always looked at that and was sort of, that interested me. You know, how that chap could, my second cousin, how he could actually get up and do that on stage and be daft and silly. You know, he used to come on stage with a pair of wellies, spotty shorts, and that was it. So I looked at that, and then as I became older, as I got into my 40s, I thought, I'd really like to try this stand-up. I'd really like to get on stage, and because I was that class clown, you know. I was that kid who was making everybody else laugh, you know, just so I could avoid being punched in the face or have all my dinner money stolen, you know. So it sounded harder than it was, but because I've often thought to myself, why didn't I start earlier? I often wish I did. Because I would have been cracking through the late 80s, into the 90s, and into that scene. But I never did. So basically what happened was, I got into my 40s and thought, I want to have a go at it now, because I think I've got something to say. And now I realize that it's because I never had anything to say, you know, as a younger man. You know, those are life experiences.
We got to pay for this. We got to take a station break. But you know what? Man, this is so interesting. And, you know, I can't wait to get inside of your head. And I listen to the audience. I tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, which I did not get a number out of, that's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. We'll be back shortly after the break with John Wilson. It's your life. I'm James Cooley.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up,
guess who fixed it?
James got to have this guy.
Dingley here, producer of the James Cooley Show. Oh yeah, I mean, I already like comedy. The fact that he's from Britain, you know what's really weird? I connect really well. Maybe it's because my descendants are from there. I connect really well with the mentality of people. It's weird to achieve.
And also, guess what, my friend? Michelle is going to ask only one question in each of the segments,
or wherever,
beginning there. So you know that's me and you. I got two. You got two. Michelle got one.
And I am seeing question 19.
That's my. You know, I'm getting ready to ask that question right now.
I'm sure you. I'm not turning your mic on.
Oh,
we're gonna bring him. I'm just going to bring him on. Like, before we bring JC back, I got a question for you.
Okay, so this where I like to do firsthand. I'm gonna ask the first question.
It's our mission to
Michelle asked one question
today for the challenges,
and you asked two,
and we rely heavily.
Then I asked two, and
business owners.
Michelle asked one, you asked two. Can you pass her that?
So you're asking one, and then her asking one, and then I'm asking two.
You asked two. Me and you asked two.
Cash donation. This year's goal is 50.
You're starting with two, and then she's asking one, and then I'm asking two, correct?
No, I'm starting with
give online.
I'm starting with one. She asked me one.
Every donation makes a difference, regardless of size. The J.C. Cooley Foundation thanks you in advance for your contribution.
Country Boy, City Boy, a journey that ain't over yet. The true life coming of age story by James J.C. Cooley. Using humor, wit, and engaging storytelling, James paints a picture about his arrival in a rural deep south town and realization that life would never be the same. Cooley lays out his struggle to adjust from city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, a journey that ain't over yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Hello, San Diego. Mike Gallagher here again for Sunday. You have a property that you're thinking about selling? Let me introduce you to Sunday. Sunday will sell your property off market as is with no repairs. You did the hard part and bought low. Now it's time to sell high. Zero fees, no repairs needed, and they'll even give you $10,000 cash up front. Sunday has hundreds of investors who will bid on your property. In some cases, you'll get a list of 10 or 11 bids from investors, and you get to choose the best one. There are no guarantees that the market will stay this hot, so call Sunday to cash in on your property today. They'll even give you a no obligation cash offer if you just want to see what your property is worth. They have 5-star reviews everywhere you look. Call 800-25-OFFER. That's 800-256-3337, or visit sunday.com. That's SUNDAE.com. Sunday is a California licensed real estate broker, BRE license number 0208828.
FM 96.1 North County and AM 1170 San Diego. The Answer.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley, and I tell you, I'm so excited to have this guest on, coming from overseas, and wow, yeah, I tell you, we had an opportunity to look this guy up. Very funny guy, doing a lot of great things. Multi-talented, talented guy, and it's just an absolute pleasure to have him on.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I don't know why, but I have always just enjoyed British humor more so than what we hear a lot here in the States. You know, Monty Python's one of my favorite things. I'll ask you about that a little bit later. But I just connect with the mentality over there just a little bit more. So to find out more about John is a treat. Can't wait for more.
Can't wait, but one thing I forgot to do because I was so carried away with this guest. I don't think I properly introduced my co-host. She a cool again.
Well, you better correct that real quick.
Well, you know, listen, audience, that's my fault. You know, my great co-host decided not to travel with me this time in California. She's back in Texas, of course. I'm in Temecula, California, San Diego. You know, she is so important to her. You know, she is glued to our team. You know,
I call her the cornerstone, JC.
I think I know what happened. I think you were so excited having John on the show tonight. You just went straight to introducing him and asking him questions, but I'm excited and we're all excited.
No.
Michelle saved you again, JC.
She always makes us look good. But our listeners, I tell you, with this great guest, John was, if you want to be part of this great conversation, that's 1-833-448-1170. You know, that's 1-833-448-1170. Please call in and ask this guy question. John, you know, if you have anybody ever asked you, did you ever know Beat the Beatles, or have you ever? I mean, since you come in Liverpool, I gotta ask that question.
Well, I mean, it's the standard play for any Liverpudlian would be that everybody and anybody knows the Beatles or had some sort of connection with the Beatles, and everyone's got a story to tell. How true those stories are, I don't know, but I can certainly give you my own 10 cents worth, if you like. So basically, what claim to fame? I was in a pub many moons ago. Paul McCartney used to frequent with his brother, Michael McCartney, and they used to go into the bar and they'd buy everybody a round of drinks, and then chat to a few people. And I never got to speak to Paul McCartney, but he did buy me a drink. So you know, that's one loose connection.
That means you know. If you're talking about a drink, you know.
Right. So there's that connection. There's my wife, my ex-wife. Her uncle pushed Ringo Starr out of a tree and he broke his arm. Now you probably say, "Oh, that sounds awful," but it's probably about. I think they were about 6 or 7 years of age at the time. So there's another tenuous link, and Paul McCartney lives just up the road from me in one of his many houses, which he bought for his father, which is called Rembrandt, which is actually named after a racehorse his father bought. I think that's right. I'm no expert, but what other links have we got for you? Well, here's one. This is quite a dark link, really. But a friend of mine who's always wanted to meet the Beatles and so on, and wanted that connection in one way, shape, or another. He used to get on the bus with a chap who tried to kill George Harrison, which is there you go. It's a tenuous link, but and you think, well, how bizarre is that this guy's out walking the streets? But that's another story. I think he was. Well, anyway, let's not go down that road. But anyway, so they're my tenuous links, and you'll hear many stories like that across Liverpool that people have met and so on, and relatives. But there is a lot of connections with relatives though in Liverpool, because there was a lot. Families were big back then, so there were cousins and. And uncles and second cousins and third cousins that were related in one way, shape, or form.
John, some people assume doing stand-up comedy is easy. Can you dispel that myth? Kind of briefly summarize your road becoming a stand-up comedian.
It's the most frightening thing I've ever done in my life. Getting on that stage, all on your own, and having to keep these individuals entertained and try and make people laugh, because that's all we want to do. Is we want to smile and we want to laugh about maybe some silly things and maybe some important things that are made to look silly. It's quite a frightening experience, and it still exists within me. When it's not just, I am quite confident. I do want to rock up on stage, no problems at all. But you want to get everything right. You want the people to enjoy themselves. So there's a lot of pressure, but I don't get as nervous as I used to. If I was going to a new venue, a new place. I mean, certainly when I go to new venues, I'm always a little bit nervous and normal. But yeah, it's a frightening experience for sure.
John, producer Noah here, so glad to have you on the show. Before I get to the really hard question, who and what makes you laugh? It doesn't necessarily have to be in the UK. Maybe it's somebody from abroad. And then actually, after your answer, are you a big Monty Python fan? I am the biggest Monty Python fan in the world. I absolutely love John in every shape or form.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the legends of comedy. That's certainly where I could go back to. When I started hearing about comedies as a young child, we were watching these types of shows, the Monty Python show, which was groundbreaking at the time because it was just completely off the wall. And then going into the 80s, then we had shows over here like The Young Ones that you may be aware of, which was a fantastic show. Which was groundbreaking.
I haven't heard of it.
Which was, well, you need to get on it. So it's sort of the same stable as the Blackadder stable and so on. Blackadder, if you've never watched any of those, which is all sort of, it's like a tree, isn't it, of comedy. I mean, I'm a massive comedy fan, and I forget a lot of things about comedy and the names and the programs that used to be on TV back in the day. But sort of you can track it all back. You can go to Monty Python, then you come forward from Monty Python and see what they did. And then you're on to the next comedy part of the tree, and you see the development of other. And then you're on to what from Monty Python, or?
Okay, well, yeah, sure. Let's make it a two-pronged question. Any particular? So, which member of the Python family did you find the most funny, and then perhaps an individual outside of Python? icon.
I mean, John Cleese, as you said before, I am a massive fan of John Cleese. I think, it's like asking me to choose my favorite child. I just think it's going to be a real struggle, especially with the Python team. Because you can go back before them, which was more of a radio show, but then became a TV show, which was the Goons. So, you go back from the Goons and then you go back into sort of like Laurel and Hardy and then, Harold Lloyd. And then, do you know what I mean? So it's like there's a progression that starts somewhere and then develops into other things. But yeah, Monty Python for me is just, literally the Holy Grail. So forgive me for the pun.
No. You know what? When I've had a rough day in the office, I will go home, John, and I don't really throw on new shows except for on the weekend. So if it's been a long week, each and every day I go home and I either throw on Seinfeld or I throw on Monty Python because it gets me laughing every time.
Right. Well, we need to get you on to that and those other shows, the young ones.
Right. And we'll end the segment with why the chicken crossed the road. I know you have a top-notch answer to this.
Do you know what? I've got no answer. When people come up to you and say, "Hey, you're a comedian, tell us a joke." I've got nothing. Don't. I mean, I'd love to know the answer. There you go. I do remember one actually. I'm not going to lie. I did Google it about 5 minutes ago. So, why did the chicken cross the road? To go and see the idiot. So then you go, knock, knock.
Who's there?
The idiot.
Then you go, a lot of idiots. That's a lot of I tell you, I want to come in and make sure that we don't miss anything from this great guest. And if you want to be part of the conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. That's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. I'm James Cool. We'll be back shortly after the break. That's 1-888.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Very much
Funny stuff, man.
It is. I know. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Michelle, let's give her 2 questions in the beginning. I got 2, and you got 2, and then we start doing the 1-to-1. All of us. So can you pass that to her?
I can.
This guy is funny, man.
He is. I like that he didn't actually have an answer for why the chicken crossed the road. Actually funny in and of itself.
Yeah, so Michelle with the first 2, I got 2, and you close it out. I think that's gonna take us to the second.
Yep.
Okay.
And dare to be an overcomer because a bigger, better, and a more impactful life awaits. Get the new audio version of my book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet on Amazon.
Okay, I'm gonna tell a joke. No, I'm joking. Okay.
The Cooley Foundation continues to strive to expand its programs and offerings to the youth, young adults, and citizens of our great communities nationwide and overseas. It's our mission to equip the youth of today for the challenges of tomorrow. We ask that you make a commitment to support our annual appeal by making a cash donation. Your generosity will assist us in making a difference in the lives of the youth in our community. You can give online at CooleyFoundation.org. The J.C. Cooley Foundation thanks you in advance for your contribution.
Noah Dingley here, producer of the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. A new audio version of Country Boy, A Journey That Ain't Yet is a must-have. Here's your true life story of struggle and success in America, both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. The new audio from City Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audio books are sold.
See right now. I heard the Federal Reserve may raise interest rates. Yes, in fact, mortgage rates have already started going up on the rumors.
That's why we just refinanced owning. We got a 30-year fixed 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. And we also took thousands out in cash to use for a bunch of other things. Owning made the whole process fast and easy.
Oh yeah, money please. I'm going to call owning and lock in my refi now.
Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com and lock in a 30-year fixed refi at today's 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. That's 8332-OWNING or owning.com.
NMLS 26 levels. License by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation in the California Residential Mortgage Lending. Accredited approved for qualified borrowers. Call 833-303-2969 for housing lending letter.
Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or log on to owning.com. That's 8332-OWNING or owning.com.
Streaming now at theanswersandiego.com and odyssey.com.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to Life from James Cooley. I tell you, wow, we got this fantastic guest here, very funny guy, but also a very serious guy. And I tell you, this guy took the time, and I'm just gonna be, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning where he's at. I mean, and
you know what's funny, JC? I have a couple of people that I know overseas, and I always forget about the time change. So that just shows the dedication from John right there.
That's dedication, my friend. And not just that, but he want to share his message, and we want to hear his message. We want to hear everything that he's doing, and potentially, it can be a guest of my great producer. You make all those decisions.
Oh, I've already made off-air notes.
Your guest on the show again, you know. So I tell you, John, so excited. We're really enjoying this. Listen to the audience. If you want to be part of this great conversation with John Williams, that's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170.
You know what, John? Every comedian, they have a certain routine they do on how to prepare their material for their performance. How do you come up with the material for your stand-up comedy, and what is your practice method to make sure you're giving the audience what they're looking for?
Well, now listen, Michelle, if I take you into the mind of the comedian, we never get out again. So, you know, we'll all be in trouble. Listen, I mean, I'm not very prepared. You can, for the viewers at home and the listeners, there's a shelf behind me with a lot of junk on it. That's basically what my mind looks like on the inside. And, you know, I do prepare, I can script certain parts of my routine that I might use as what we would like to call maybe a back pocket gag. But generally I like to free roll, really, you know, just go on stage and just see where we go. But, you know, you're always going to have, you know, maybe some jokes or opening jokes or non-jokes, as I like to call them, to you know, try and get the audience on side, you know, so having the ability to swap and change and with the material. But I like to free. I'm a free spirit. You know, I don't. A friend of mine once said to me, he said, "I've never seen you do the same thing twice on stage." So that probably tells you basically what I do. I rock up with a blank notepad, and away we go. So that's it.
Oh. John, what is the funniest joke you have ever heard? Oh.
Well, there you go. You see, stopping and asking the comedian on the street. You're the comedian. Tell us a joke. Funniest joke. Oh, there's so many. You ask me to choose my children again, aren't you? I do. A massive Emo Phillips fan. Probably, if people listening to me, they'll probably start to say, "Well, hang on. I think we know where John's comedy's going now." Oh, certainly what he's interested in, because I am interested in the daft and the silly in the comedy, you know, that clown type character. But he tells a fantastic joke where he says, I won't even attempt to do an Emo Phillips impersonation before we start. So, but basically he says, I've lent my friend $15,000 for plastic surgery, but now I don't know what he looks like. So that's Emo Phillips. That's one of my favorite Emo Phillips jokes.
John, has anything, I mean, I guess when you get to the line of being a stand-up comic, you kind of have to have a thick skin, maybe some routines don't work. You got to move on. You like that, move on, try new things. Some people are better at it than others. Has anything ever embarrassed you that happened while you were on stage?
Yeah, and it happened in America of all places. You couldn't write it, could you? It was Florida, St. Pete. I was with my good friend Chris Gorgeous, who's a wonderful headline comedian, and we were doing this gig, and it was on a balcony. It was a bit like Romeo and Juliet, but on a larger scale, and there was only going to be one person who's going to be dying that night. I went up onto the balcony, and the audience members were in front of me, and I was chatting away. And one of the audience members stopped me mid-flow and asked if he could buy me a drink. So I'm looking down at this guy, and I'm going, yeah, sure, okay. And so he brings me up a drink up to the side of the stage. I carry on drinking the drink. And I suppose that was the craziest thing I would say that's happened to me on the American stage. So.
Who is your favorite? Okay, you talked about like the comedy stories that maybe inspired you. Monty Python. If we're talking straight up stand-up comedy, which is a little different from the shows on TV, who's your favorite stand-up comedian? Straight up stand-up comedy.
Wow! You get me. You keep asking me to choose, don't you, all the time? I could. Listen, Dave Chappelle, he's my Lord and Master. He's the GOAT. I absolutely love the man to death. I can go further back. I can go to Eddie Murphy again, another legend.
What about Robin Williams?
Robin Williams, yeah. The list goes on. I'm a massive fan of Jim McGaffigan, if I'm pronouncing that right. He's a fantastic comedian. Loves the silly. Can go back to Roger Dangerfield, Richard Pryor. They're all the way back to Laurel Hardy. I mean, they're all just amazing on the American scene. There's a great young guy coming through probably over the last 5 years now called Mark Normand, and Mark Normand is just smashed out of the park, and he says it how it is, and he's got some great gags, well crafted material. Great comedian.
Wow. I was a stand-up comedian for a while, and it's certain things that, even though it's funny, I believe, in society and in our world, is there anything that you won't joke about? I'm talking about regardless of what it is, regardless how funny it might be, but it kind of touches us from the heart, and so we can't go there.
I think it's a good old Irish comedian used to say, it's the way you tell them. And obviously, what is the point of the joke? Where's the bang for your buck? What is it? Who's it pointing at? Is it pointing at you and making you look silly because you've got the wrong end of the stick? It's how it's crafted and how it's meant, and a lot of these jokes are taken out of context. Comedians from the 60s and 70s, if they were born today and worked in this industry today, they'd never tell another joke again. So, so for me, I would say no, nothing's out of bounds. Nothing is out of bounds when it comes to a joke, personally. But it's how you've got to be real careful and real clever to play that game.
I'm gonna tell you, when I first started comedy, and especially if you're opening up for a big name, and you are the opening act or number two, and the audience want to hear the main guests. They want to hear the show that they came to see. I'm gonna ask you this question: have you ever? I mentioned to you, and I said, like, have you ever died on stage? Meaning that you come out and you are doing your thing, and the crowd just don't want to hear you, and they just start heckling. It doesn't matter how funny your jokes are. Doesn't matter this or that. How do you handle a situation? Because we all have been in that situation before. Maybe not you, but I have. How do you handle that?
I've never had a particularly rowdy crowd, heckling. I've had individuals on the odd occasion, and then with those back pocket gags that you keep for those moments, you can throw at them and hope that they stick and hope that you get the crowd back on side. But yeah, I mean, I've certainly died on the inside, James. Put it that way. Where your jokes aren't landing well. There's tumbleweeds trotting through, and you think this is, and I'm dying on the inside, slowly but surely. But you just got to keep that clown face on and keep going rolling.
And you have to. It's so good. You have to. Everything is not because it might be a hit yesterday, or even if you're doing 2 or 3 shows, it might have been a hit 2 shows an hour or 2 earlier. It might not resonate with the new audience that just came in, and so people that don't understand how that is, and if you don't have a thick skin, you would die on stage. I tell you, say some break. But we're gonna come back and continue this great discussion with John Wilson. I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. I'm James Cooley, and we'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley. The J.C. Cooley Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was started in October of 2014. The J.C. Cooley Foundation continues to strive to expand its programs and offerings to the youth.
I'm already in contact with Crystal for getting him on my show.
Hey, you got to, man. It's a great one. They know it. Okay, you gonna open up. I'm gonna bring the show back.
Experience firsthand the pride we take in supporting our cause.
I'll tell you what.
It's our mission to
let's make Michelle bring the show back.
Of tomorrow. And we rely heavily on the generosity of individuals and
give her the first question. You got the next question. I take over from you.
Minded individuals.
Michelle brings it back. Michelle's got the first one. I got the second one. You
make a commitment. Support our annual appeal by making a cash donation. This year's goal is $50,000. Your generosity will assist us in making a difference in the lives of the youth in our community. You can give online at CooleyFoundation.org. Remember that every donation makes a difference regardless of size. The J.C. Cooley Foundation thanks you in advance for your contribution.
Country Boy, City Boy, a journey that ain't over yet. The true life coming of age story by James J.C. Cooley. Using humor, wit, and engaging storytelling, James paints a picture about his arrival in a rural deep South town and realization that life would never be the same. Cooley lays out his struggle to adjust from city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, a journey that ain't over yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Do your pets have the do they have problems with itching, scratching, a dull coat, or droopy ears? Then your pets need Dynavite. For over 20 years, pet owners have trusted Dynavite to supplement their pet's diet.
We started Dynavite in our first stop. We noticed a difference.
Dynavite is an all-natural daily supplement made from whole foods that help support your pet's immune system, digestion, skin, and coat.
Within 3 weeks, you got scratching, itching, and all around happy dog.
Today's commercial pet foods are processed at high temperatures, which baits out all the essential goodness. These processed foods can lack the essential vitamins, enzymes, and probiotics that contribute to
overall good health. Adding a scoop of Dynavite to your pet's food bowl is the answer.
If you understand as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the
Sir, you won't believe how happy a dog is.
Man,
DINOVIT.
I love this guy right here, man.
The Answer, San Diego, streaming now on iHeart.com and Odyssey.com.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. Listening audience, we are here tonight with comedian John Wilson. And if you want to be part of this conversation, please call in at 1-888-344-1170, 1-888-344-1170. John, you know, a lot of stand-up comedians, basically comedians in general, people expect them to be exactly like they are on stage. Are you more of a serious person, or are you a person who cracks jokes a lot in real life away from the stage?
I suppose I'm a bit of a joker. For sure. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely a joker.
I've got nothing else for that. I'm just a very silly man. At all times. You know, I never rest. You know, the mind of the comedian is a busy one. I never rest.
We actually have a
May I
call.
say?
We have Anthony on the line from Atlanta, and he's got a question for John tonight.
Hey, how you doing, my friend? We got
Doing all right. I hope you guys are as well.
absolutely. So glad that you called in. You got a question for this great guy.
You guys are as well. Yes, I do. I was wondering with the audience's ability to go live and actually film, how much pressure is there to not recycle material or have to constantly come up with new material versus years past before this kind of technology existed?
That's a really good question. I mean, I've watched comedians, when you start immersing yourself into comedy, I've watched comedians, because of YouTube now, you can go back and you can look at old clips and you can see the same comedians do the same material time and time again. And if it's not broke, don't fix it, use it. And some people will go and see the comedians tell those same jokes again and again and again. I tend to use the same sort of material as I'm rocking through my set. You know, I talk about those back pocket gags, you know what I mean? Stuff that you can just pick up and throw out there, or there might be a heckle that you want to throw back out. That's a pocket one. But yeah, does that sort of like cover that? I'm no expert. But yeah.
Wow. Hey, Anthony, that was a great question. Do you have another one?
Yes. I also did want to kind of touch on what you guys were talking about with hecklers. You know, how much of your act is, you know, a kind of improv or, you know, kind of quick-witted response to crowd? You know, is that something that you incorporate into your show, or do you pretty much follow a format as far as, you know, what you had pretty much in mind before the show started? You know, is there any improv that's associated with your act?
Well, here's the thing. If I'm in the UK doing comedy, my act is completely different to the act that I do when I go to the United States, because I've got to think about my dialect. I've got to think about pronunciation. I've got to get those things right, and also terminology for various words. So in the UK, I'm a lot more free rolling, but when I come to the States, I stay more on track, and so I know exactly what I'm going to say when I get on stage. So it's more scripted, certainly the American comedy for me when I come. So yeah,
gotcha. Thank you so much.
It's more scripted, certainly.
You know,
Thanks for calling.
thanks so much, man. Those were two absolutely fantastic questions. I know you up right now, but wow, those were two very good questions.
Yeah, those were dynamite.
Absolutely.
Keep me on the
John,
toes.
it's so good to have you on, find out more about you. And, I would like to know whether it's been in the United States or mainly in the UK, what type of feedback, like things that people generally come back at you with as feedback for seeing some of your stand-up. Because that really kind of gives a flavor of, I believe, the type of comedian that you are.
The American audience are obviously fascinating me for many reasons. One of them being the fact that I'm English, you see, so that's the fascination. And that can help as well, because it's something completely different, something that they're not used to. Because obviously, if I'm gigging, not that I've gigged in many venues in Florida, but I've stayed within those same venues, but only 3 in total. But I keep going back thanks to Chris Gorgeous. And it's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
I always think about how usually the greatest compliment I always heard for Robin Williams, and I mention him because he is one of my favorites, is he was the best at ad-libbing. I mean, the guy did not need a script, some genuinely funny stuff. So maybe there's some feedback that you've gotten from fans that said, hey, you know what? For this particular type of comedy, like John is lights out. Gotten from
listen, it's horses for courses. As you go on stage as a comedian, you're dividing the audience in half straight away, you know what I mean? And then you're going to try, you're hoping to get everybody on side, but it's so difficult to do that. They either love you or hate you. You can't choose. We talked about before about you go there and you're getting heckled and stuff. Obviously this audience are not into it and they don't like you, and it doesn't mean that your comedy doesn't work, because you know that it does because you've done it somewhere else. So because I've heard comedians say, oh, never blame the audience. Well, I don't believe that's true. I say blame the audience, because if they haven't turned up for a good time and a good night, unless you get something completely wrong and you're not on point yourself and you're struggling, then that's on you. But if you've got everything going on and that audience isn't with you and they've not turned up, then it's going to be you've got to fight in your hands, and we've all done gigs like that, so it's not always on you.
John, I tell you, man, this is so great. My producer, he even though he didn't mention that to you, he has a couple of shows, and he already just said, I got to get this guy on the show. I mean, you're impressive, if that makes any sense.
That's nice. That's nice.
And that's my great producer, Noah Dingley. And Noah, you come on, you can tell it.
Oh yeah, I'm John, I'm tremendously excited to get to know you a little bit, find out about your comedy stylings, and I host my own show, as Jason just said, and I've already actually reached out to Chris Olsen, who's been a guest for me in the past, and I'm really looking forward to possibly getting you on.
That'd be wonderful.
That's wonderful. Hey, I got to ask you a question. Now we're down to the last 2 minutes of the show. I got to get 2 questions into one. My first question is, if you was not a comedian, what you think you might be doing right now? If you was not.
Well, I was a computer engineer in another life, so I'd probably, and I still keep my handy, as they say. It's not all comedy, especially over these last couple of years that we've suffered. Because I've only done 2 gigs within 2 years. One of them was in St. Pete, Florida, and the other one was in Southport, which is just north of me, 1 month ago. So yeah. So we have many more.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, is there any films or any major projects that's is coming down the line that you might be working on right now? Or any major projects?
I work on a radio play with an Australian comedian, which is rather enjoyable, called Shipwrecked. You can check that out on Spotify. I do run my own podcast, which is the John Wilson Radio Show. I shared you guys' stuff on there today. I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media. I'm not a big fan of it really, but you've got to use it these days to try and promote yourself and so on. So
You got to. The last 30 seconds of the show, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, or we might extend that invitation out again for another show if you're available.
Time's gone so quick. Time's gone so quick, man. Really, thanks.
It always goes quick when you're having fun. You already know how that is, my friend. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I want to thank my great co-host, Michelle Cooley. I want to thank my great producer, Noah Dingley. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our listener audience for taking the time to come on and listen to us. We're always looking for sponsors, so continue to bring this great message. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. I'm James Cooley.
Look at that one, man. You had 5 seconds.
Oh, man, I'm getting good at it.
Are getting good. Like, I was like, listen to him. He sounds like a pro. He's getting it all out. He's being quick about it. He had time left over.
I know I got 45 seconds from the time the music played.
Yep. So, dude, he was good, and like I like what you said too. It's not just because he's funny, like he's like the inner workings of how he does and became what he did is fascinating.
Dream big, it is, my friend.
Everything that you do.
I tell you,
It's Your Life is sponsored by
tomorrow.
JC Cooley.
Once I'm gonna reach out early because I want to lock down these shows.
Okay, well, not too early because
I know
I sleep in.
I give you another 30 minutes before I call you. I got you, my friend.
I looked at my phone. I was like, I'll call him later.
Hey, and my fault, man. I